Rubber ducky, you're the one. You make bath time lots of fun. Rubber ducky, I'm awfully fond of you. When I was at the Hereford meeting by 19 nurses, one of the speakers, I believe it was Steve Phelps, talked about, he mentioned it was the Brides in the Bath murders. That was the first case where it brought in legal precedent to use previous murders. So I thought I'd go down this rabbit hole a little bit, although it hasn't really helped me out. But basically, back in, I don't know, what is it, 18, around 1915, there was a killer, George Joseph Smith. He had a few aliases, and he had married 3 women and took out life insurance policies on them. And these 3 different women his wives had all drowned in different bathtubs around the country. And they became suspicious. But one thing I actually found funny, so the basically the women had, I can find it funny now because it's old history, isn't it? So the women that had drowned in the bath, but there was no sign of sort of any struggle, so they weren't actually sure of exactly how he had drowned them in the bath, because if he had ducked their head under, they would have thrashed around and things, and so listen to the lengths. So basically, one of the theories that they came up with was that rather than ducking her head under or poisoning, if like one of the cases they thought maybe the woman had an epileptic seizure and then sort of drowned in the bath, and so someone came up with this theory that maybe he had yanked on the woman's leg, and the shock of the water going up the nose had sort of made her unconscious or something. And so to try this out, Neil, who's the investigator, hired several experienced female divers of the same size and build as the victims. He tried to push them underwater by force, but there would be inevitable signs of struggle. Neil then unexpectedly pulled the feet of one of the divers, and her head glided underwater before she knew what happened. Suddenly, Neil saw that the woman was no longer moving. He quickly pulled her out the tub, and it took him and a doctor over half an hour to revive her. When she came to, she related that the only thing she remembered was the rush of water before she lost consciousness. Thus was Spilsbury's theory confirmed. Well, they don't make them like they used to. I wonder if Detective Hughes and Evans had tried something on a baby. Obviously, you can't do that. There were 3 victims in this, but I have to say, it says here, in accordance with English law, he could be tried. So this gave precedence. He could be tried only for the murder of one of them, but they used the other 2 as to establish a pattern. But this isn't actually what has happened in the Lucy Letby case. Rather than using the others to establish a pattern, they've tried her for 15 or 22, and they're not using they're not using them as a part of a pattern, because they're using them all together. So it's not really helped. She's not being tried for just one baby, and then they're saying the rest is part of the pattern, because they gave 15 whole life terms, and the jury gave not one verdict, but however they gave 22 different verdicts. And so my query is that with these new cases, and we saw in my previous video, and I would just want to read it out again. Child J, allegation of attempted murder. No specific form of harm was identified by the prosecution, but they said Letby did something to cause the collapse of the baby girl. Yeah, I mean, how can you take that to trial? It's not helping me. And so I assume now, with these new cases that have gone to the CPS, I'm assuming they've got they had these cold cases in a drawer. They had these bodies of babies from Liverpool Women's Hospital that they knew somebody had stabbed, knife wounds or something. Even eyewitnesses who saw the assailant break in, blonde hair, and I'm assuming they found the murder weapon now, the knife, with the victim's blood on, and have managed to match DNA, or they've got CCTV or something, or is it, I suspect, some more conjecture where some babies died, again, natural causes, went through the coronal system, and Lucy Letby happened to be on shift because, let me guess, she worked there and she was supposed to be there. That, just a guess. I've a feeling it might be the latter. And I mean, what about the 4,000 babies that she had taken care of, that all got better, that weren't involved in any, that didn't have any issue? I mean, are there now around Liverpool 10-year-old children? Is it like, I think maybe the police might have sent these letters out to the schools giving a warning. So if you're having trouble putting your, if you're from the Liverpool area, the Chester area, and you're having trouble getting your 10-year-old, 11-year-old kid into a school, it might be because you remember those pagers that went off that Mossad done. So Lucy Letby was just figuring out all of these new ways of murdering the babies, and if you listen carefully to your 10 or 11-year-old, you might actually hear them ticking, and they could just explode at any moment, just like the pagers from Hezbollah. They're all these 4,000 kids, they're just ticking time bombs, right?